friends, it's here from E-MTB Review, and today I'm going to tell you about a very special bike, the Orbea Rise Hydro. What is the Hydro? It is the aluminum version of their popular M-Series carbon bikes, and it is a mid-powered bike, meaning not as heavy, not as powerful as the full-powered Levos and Trek Rails. They used a Shimano EP8 motor, RS tuned. Instead of 85 Newton meters, 60 Newton meters. And because of that, they were able to put a smaller battery in here. The carbon version had a 360 watt hour battery. This one has a 540 watt hour battery, so 50% more than the carbon version. And it's cheaper, $5,700, $6,800, and $8,000. So what I'm going to do in this video is tell you what makes this bike tick, what makes it special. I'm going to tell you which version you should purchase, and I'm going to tell you about a fairly significant problem with this bike, but I do have a solution if you hang on to the end. Okay, the bike is a special bike indeed. It's a trail bike, 140, 150 millimeters of travel, 29er. Comes in three versions, three different price points. And what's really special about it is it has a very similar suspension kinematics to the Orbea Occam. So a very active suspension, four-link suspension. And it's very supple, very active, and it's really good for e-bike, I think. I don't like too much pedal platform on e-bikes because you have a motor anyway helping you. So focus on suppleness and traction, maximize the traction that these things need. Okay, the suspension is good. So now the motor and electronics. The motor, 60 Newton meters is quite a bit. It is quite a bit more than the 35 Newton meters of the Specialized Levo SL. And it actually feels like more because it comes on strong in the beginning, has a wide power band like a diesel motor. It really supports the rider, allows the rider to keep momentum. So coupled with that, the battery, as I said, is 540 watt hours. It is pretty significant. It lasts a long time. In fact, I was going to buy the extender battery with 255 watt hours, but I haven't run out yet, really. And I'm hanging out with 700, 720 watt hour battery buddies, and I'm able to not only keep pace with them, but have as much range as them. So pretty fascinating kind of matrix solution that this bike offers. So let's go through some pros and cons. The pros are the frame is aluminum, but it looks like carbon. You can't see the welds. It's very stealthy. It was able to, had a big enough cavity. It doesn't look huge, but it was able to host the 540 watt hour battery, and it's about 7.5 pounds. So fairly light for an e-bike aluminum frame. Another pro is the ride quality is supple. I value that. It seems to have a lot of traction, very pleasant up and down. And then it was complemented by a really good Shimano drivetrain, either SLX or XT. And those are really excellent for e-bikes because they can handle a lot of torque. The brakes are excellent and it's able to stop this bike. And then race face wheels with Maxxis tires, very good. So no bike is perfect, and this bike has some downsides that you should know about. The first one is got the typical Shimano clatter. So any bike with the EP8 motor will have the clatter, and this one has it as well. So when you're coasting, you'll hear, like bearings loose inside your frame or something. Clack, 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 clack. It disappears if you get used to it, if it's the only bike you ride. But if you're very sensitive to noise, you might notice it. Another downside is a couple of the specs are a little weird. So the H10, the $8,000 one, is a little weird. It tries to get to 43 pounds. And it makes too many compromises, like a Fox 34 fork, non-reservoir shock, no display for your battery. So a little strange. The H30, the cheap one, is cool, but it has these hybrid brake levers. So a couple downsides there, huh? Okay, a couple more problems. The saddle that they give is not really that good. The seat post is in-house. It's pretty slow. The reach of it is not quite there. For a medium, I think it's 450. which should be okay, but since the seat angle is so steep, it really feels cramped for some people. It's fine for me, but I'm not able to run my super shorty stems. And a couple more problems. Supply chain on this has been brutal. It's one of the hardest bikes to get for 2022. A minor one is you have to press the button, the on-off button, 3 seconds before it'll turn on or turn off. You know, it might not be a big deal, but if you do it like every day, every other day, it's like, why do you have to do that? And the last problem is fairly significant. It doesn't charge to 100% all the time. Most people don't realize it because it shows 5 bars, but usually overnight charging, it'll charge to about 80%. We'll get more into that later and how to solve that. So the next question is, which model is right for you? You know, we have the cheap one. The numbers are reversed, by the way. You know, the higher numbers are the low end. So H30 is the $5,700 version. That one's okay if you really are on a tight budget. Go for that. Change the brake levers because they have hybrid brake levers. Pretty basic components. The high-end one is called the H10. I think they were really chasing weight to prove that aluminum is a good frame. So they really compromised on a non-reservoir shock, Fox 34, small brake rotors, and no display for your battery. So really a strange one for that. But the sweet spot is the H15. The H15 is what you want. Reservoir shock, Fox 36, nice brakes, and it's $6,800. A little side effect, something I think Orbea wasn't expecting, but it's not so good for Orbea, is when they created this bike, they kind of made the carbon version less appealing because that bike remained on the 360 watt-hour battery. Well, this is 540. So for that to match the battery of this, you had to put an extender all the time. You have no more room for growth, and now you're heavy. You're about the same weight. I'll talk about the charging problem. The charging problem, it turns out that when you leave this charger overnight, it charges to 100% after 2-3 hours, and then it'll drop it down to about 80. So really strange that it does that. Very hard to debug. Their display shows 5 bars. 81% is actually 5 bars. So you don't know that you're not fully charged. So what you need is either an app called ST Unlocker or a Garmin that shows you 1 to 100% what your actual charge is. And from there you can solve the problem. The way to solve the problem is just unplug it as soon as it's done. So 3 hours later, unplug it. Then you're 100%. And then check with a meter, you know, where you are exactly. So don't charge it overnight. If you wanted to have convenience, I charge all my e-bikes overnight, by the way. They've all been flawless, so not a big deal. But if you wanted to do a worry-free charging, what you do is you get one of those light timers. You know, when you're on vacation, it turns the light on and turns it off. So set it for 3 hours, turn it on, automatically it'll shut off after 3 hours when this thing is fully charged. So there you go. We have a lot of footage. Really amazing bike. What happened here, you know, they wanted to give me a carbon one. I said, no, give me the aluminum. I think that one is the special one. And sure enough, it is. Get the H15. I do have a Heckler, like 14 grand. I do have an S-Works Levo that is 15,000. That is amazing. I would say those are better bikes. But for the money, the $6,800 version of this is just mind-blowing. It's the one I take out all the time. It encourages me to work. It gets me, you know, to the head of the pack with my e-bike buddies, and I don't run out of battery at the end. If I did, I would put an extender. This would put it at 800 watt-hours. So just a really amazing package that they were able to put it together. So I'm very impressed. Can't wait to see what they come up with next. There's a lot of competition coming, so they better up their game. If you are an owner already, please share with me what your experiences are with the Orbea Rise.